God, thank you again for the chance for us to be together as a body this morning. Just be with Drew as he brings the message. And for all of us, just open our hearts, our eyes, our ears, and let us receive what you have for us today. In Jesus' name, amen.
I serve as the lead pastor of Church Without Religion here in West Texas. I've been here a decade. I came here in 2005. I also serve as a professor at Texas Tech in linguistics. Catherine and I met at University of Illinois in a group called Graduate InterVarsity Christian Fellowship. It was basically a group of graduate students that were looking to connect. We had our faith in common and we were looking to make friendships. So I walk in the door and she was the large group coordinator for this group. That meant that she picked the speakers and helped with some of the events. She was also the greeter. So she greeted me and then I married her, but there were a few years in between there.
When we met, I think that we thought we had more in common than we did. Coming from Canada, I had never met anybody who didn't think climate change was real. My perspective was, well, the grass is green, the sky is blue, climate is changing due to human activities. Andrew had never met somebody who shared his faith who did think that climate change was real. He came very much from the South. He grew up in a community, in a university, in a family that didn't think that climate was changing, and if it was, it certainly wasn't because of humans. I don't believe in climate change. It's really interesting. In the book of Hebrews, there's a definition of faith. Faith is the evidence of what we do not see. If you go to Google, Google gives us almost the same definition. Science is the evidence of what we do see and observe and measure. Faith is intangible. It is a belief that is not based on observational proof. So no, I don't believe in climate change. I crunch the data myself. I run the models. I look at the basic physics that underlies our planet. And when I look at all of those lines of evidence, more than 26,500 lines of physical evidence around the world, from birds and bees to trees and glaciers and sea level rise, there is no question that the planet is warming. It's humans who are responsible for the first time in the history of the planet. And if we don't wean ourselves off these dirty and dangerous ways of getting energy from coal and gas and oil, we're going to see dangerous impacts, not just for the planet, but for us.
So when I met Catherine, she was an atmospheric scientist getting her degree in that field, and I didn't even really know what that meant. But over time, I realized that, she's studying climate change and doing models of the Earth's atmosphere and making predictions. And I had really assumed that there was no validity to any of that. So I started asking her questions. I asked her tough questions. I asked her, isn't this a natural trend? Isn't this just a cycle? What about volcanoes? What about cow flatulence? What about this? What about that? I pulled up everything I could off of the internet, and I launched at her this pile of information that I thought was right. And then she was able to really come back with some solid scientific answers that made a lot of sense to me. So in the first years of our marriage, I changed my mind about climate change. I didn't think that there was anything to it. I thought it was fake, a fabrication. But now I believe it's really happening. Just seeing NASA's website, global average temperature, looking at the graph and realizing, look, it goes up. And I think at some point, common sense just settles in and you realize, maybe I need to put the brakes on here concerning my doubt.
My hope is that by acting on climate, we will pave the way to a better world. We all want a world where energy is clean and it's never going to run out on us. We all want a world where everybody has enough food to eat and enough clean water to drink. We all want a world where our children can grow up safely, free of fear, of political turmoil, terrorism, famine, and flood. That's the world that we all want. And that's the world that we can get when we invest in clean energy.